For a beginner illustrator, finish your art style is request. You don't give it to you, you try, you struggle, you. So today we're working art style from the easiest to the absolute hardest. And who knows, maybe your favorite style end up being harder than you thought. We got 10 style on the list from Stickman all the way up to a full splash art. The can you see on game poster and cinematic trailer. I rank each one based on how long it takes to get decent at it and how much technical skill it actually requires and how forgiving it is when you make mistake. This is my personal ranking, you might disagree and that's fine. Okay, let's start with Stickman. Stickman is hands down the easiest style on this list. All you need to know is how to write. It's literally a circle and 5 lines. Let me show you. All you have to do is just make a circle and 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's all. If you cannot draw a stickman, I'm going to assume that you cannot write it. So all you have to do is just try to learn how to write ABC, and you can just draw a stickman. It's very easy, and I'm going to put it on the bottom of the list. Anime or manga. This is the most popular style on internet and for a good reason. But long as that for you, personally I find anime generally complex. Mastering the stylized eyes, the hair, the face at different angles, it takes serious out of practice. And unlike Stickman, you actually need to understand basic shading here. Anatomy matter too, and I think this style can have a good place on intermediate level. Realistic traditional art. This might sound surprising, but actually I find traditional realism more accessible than people think. I used to make this kind of art back in high school. Is actually how I first started making money from art. Most artists in this style work from reference image. The goal is to reproduce what you see. And with a green method, it becomes even more approachable. You don't need to master anatomy from scratch anymore. All you have to do is just to follow the grid section by section. The hard part is not the shading or the texture, is patience. The mistake most people make is rushing. If you slow down and draw what you see, what you actually see, pixel by pixel, it works. The process is more technical than artistic, but that's exactly what makes it accessible. Patience is a real skill here. If you don't have patience, you just leave. It's not for you. So I think this style have a good place on accessible list. Chibi. Fun fact, Chibi is actually how I got into digital art, and honestly I find it pretty simple. The only thing that requires a bit more work is nailing the expression. She be live and die by its expressiveness. But outside of that, nothing too complicated. Accessible level. Doodle. Doodle is a cool cousin of Stickman. You are allowed to be imprecise. That's the terrible point. No perfect profession needed. The messy, sketchy look is the future. And the only real skill here is creativity and not be scared of a blank page. That's all you need to do some doodle. So for me, this style will stay on easy level. Cartoon. Cartoon is all about geometric shape, circle, oval, rectangle, and that's actually what makes it so approachable. Once you understand that every character, every object, every scene can be broken to basic shape, the style start to make sense really fast. You are not trying to replicate reality or simplify it. That mental shift alone take a lot of pressure off. Sure, there's still some work involved. Consistency, your line weight, keeping your shape clean, character consistency, but nothing that should intimidate a beginner. The learning curve is smooth, feedback is quick, and you start getting decent results early on. So accessible level. Digital painting is different beast entirely. You're not drawing anymore, you're painting. And that distinction matters more than people think. The way you build up color, the way you handle light source, the way your brush stroke interact, it's completely different workflow from anything else on this list. You cannot just outline and file. You have to think in terms of value, temperature, atmosphere. On top of that, every software has its own learning curve, brush setting, layer mode, blending technique. There's a lot to absorb. The reason I keep it on high level and not very hard is that the tool do help, but don't underestimate how long it takes to actually feel comfortable in this style. So high level, semi-realistic. This is where it gets serious. Semi-realistic is deceptive. You're dealing with all the content of realism plus the stylish choice you need to constantly master. On top of that, you need to understand anatomy well enough to know exactly how to bend the roll. And the shading thread is generally time consuming. It's demanding a level of control that take a year to develop. So this goes straight to high level. No debate. Comic. Comic style is a whole package. You got clean liners, structural composition, stylized shading, and characters that need to feel dynamic, even astounding. Every element has to work together: the line, the color, the way you frame each scene. It's more demanding until look because there's very little room to hide behind looseness or approximation. Your line need intention, your anatomy need to hold up, your expression need to read clearly. It takes time to get all of that working at once. It's also a style that closest to my own personal drawing style, which probably says something about where I end up after a year of experimenting. So, intermediate level. And for the last one, we got splash art or game art. This is the top of mountain. We're talking about the kind of work you see on League of Legends Champions page, Valorant, Agent Rival, God of War, promotional art, sometimes in Call of Duty. Cinematic lighting, intricate detail, composition that need to grab you in the surround. Everything has to be intentional. The pose, the color palette, the mount, the focal point. Nothing is accidental at this level. The artists behind this kind of work are not hobbies, they are professionals who spent years, sometimes decades, mastering digital painting, anatomy, learning theory, and visual storytelling all at once. If splash art is your goal, that's a good goal to have, but go in with clear eyes. This is the most demanding style on this list by a significant margin. Ultra complex and extreme time consuming. So this will stay on very high level, learning at the top. So that's my ranking. You might see it differently, and honestly, that's the point. Every artist journey is different, and at the end of the day, the style you choose matters on the fact that you actually start. Every artist on here begin somewhere, even splash art artists were drawing Stickman at some point. And if you found this useful, you know what to do. Subscribe, like the video, and bye.